Okay, so yesterday we were looking at this NIC configuration here. If you look into the network interface card here, you need only 5 lines of information. Okay, so I go in here. These are the basic 5 lines of information here. You need to type equal Ethernet. Boot proto stands for protocol, and we're gonna work on DHCP. And the name will be associated with the Ethernet card here. So if you find the file is missing, it's possible the file will be missing. Okay, so if you come in this folder here, and if you do ls, for example, if this file is missing, enp0s3, that if that file is missing, what you have to do is just create a file using the same format, and then just change the last number. How would you find if the name of the file? If you do IPA, let me make this screen bigger. Clear IPA. Okay, and then you will have like 1, 2, 3 numbers going through, and then whichever number you're working with, use this format, and then create a new file here. VIIFCFG hyphen. That's how it's going to be listed, and that's what the computer will understand your network interface card configuration file. Okay, so let's do this here. So both of these file, I removed some junk information from it. Okay, all I have in there is 5 lines of information on number 3 and number 8. Okay, so this should be very essential lines, and this is all you need here. Okay, so let's go ahead and restart the system here. Okay, I'm going to do INIT6, and the system should restart.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think a couple people are complaining that they can't hear you. I don't know if they can hear you now. They're sending messages.
Where they sending on the WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
Okay, so what time is it?
Yeah, I had to log back out and log back in, so I'm able to hear you now. But I'm not sure how you got to where you are. I'm sure it's probably the same with the other people that complained that they couldn't hear you as well.
So okay, everybody who cannot hear me still, put in here. So I'm gonna put in a chat here. Okay, so the message went to everybody. Whoever can hear me good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So,
I guess everybody hears you now. Nobody said anything.
okay, good. So let's see. Let's move forward here. So I went ahead and restarted the system here. Okay, I'm gonna re-log in. I'm gonna log in as root, and my ID is password. Okay, if I do IPA, I'm gonna make the screen bigger here because it will. IPA. So here, what it did here was it restarted the system, and it kept the, it still came up with the IP information here. So what happened here is, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is, all you need is this much information here. That's all you need for a system to have a working IP address. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back in there. So I'm gonna say 616. All right, I'm gonna clear this ls. So I'm gonna go back in here, and then we'll a little bit explain what is DHCP. Okay. So now there are two protocols we're going to be using, static and DHCP. Okay, so I'll tell you what DHCP is. You may have heard before DHCP. Okay, so this stands for dynamic host control protocol. Okay, and this is when this is enabled, IP address is assigned randomly. Okay, by router, and DHCP IP can change anytime. Okay, so whenever you're having issue connection, you have to, for troubleshooting, you have to check the IP address. So in this case here, this is our DHCP IP. So what it is this is not very efficient here, right? If the IP address is going to change anytime, that is not an ideal situation to be in. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up as an IP which never changes. Okay. So and always when you look at the IP address, it will be this here, where it will be right next to INET. This is the IP address. Okay, so we're going to go deep into IP address, what it means, when I'm going to do the network class. Okay, now when we're going to set the IP address here, we could, this part, this three octets gonna not, these three octets will not change, but we could take a liberty to change this information here, right? 10.106, right? So we could use the one we like. Okay, so normally when you're working with this static IP address, that means the IP address will not change. What you do is you will get this IP address from the network team. They will provide it to you. All you have to do is configure in this config file. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to talk about static, and this is assigned manually. Manually to the host. Okay, in this case, host means a server or a computer. Okay, the real technical term for for the system we are working on is server, and sometimes it's called host. Okay, and sometimes on a jargon, sometimes people, your colleagues may call it box. Okay, what is the box IP address? So you have to give that out to them. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the static IP address. So over here, I'm going to choose this one here. We're not going to assign the IP address for this guy. So we're going to do it for S3 that ends with S3. Okay, in here, what you have to do is you have to change the boot protocol to static, static. Okay, all these things remain same, and then we're going to add more lines here. Okay, so in here we have 5 lines, right? For setting up a static IP address, you have total of 8 lines. Okay, so what you need is a hardware address, HWADDR equals, and we have to do some research to get the hardware address, and IPADDR equals, and the net mask equals. Now, where am I getting that information from? Let me go ahead and save this for now and get out of this. So if you do IPA, so this part is the IP address here. Okay, and if you want the hardware address, when you look at this here, this is the hardware address. This is the hardware address of your system. Okay?
Is it the same as MAC address?
Very good. MAC address, yes. You took my words. Okay? This address will never change. IP address might change. This address will never change. This is just not like a number here. This is like a coded number. It means a lot of stuff, but it's beyond the scope of this class here. So now that you said MAC address, where do you get this same number? In here, you go back to the virtual box and select the machine. Go into settings and network and look at the first adapter here. Okay, the first adapter is 800272809C4. Okay, and this is the MAC address. It should match. It's not matching. Okay, I'm looking for the wrong one here. So this is the correct one. I was looking for number 8. We need to look for number 3. So let me actually, if I'm working with this, let me copy and paste this in here. So this is the MAC address. This is the IP address 105. Okay, and then what else we need is the net mask. Okay, the net mask, I'll tell you what the net mask is. How do you find the net mask? So on your computer, type CMD, the command prompt will come up. This is the Windows item. And in there, if you type ipconfig, you see the net mask here, 255.255.255.0. In most cases, it's always this here. But At work you don't have to worry about it because this information is provided by the network team. Okay, but in the for this class here for home use, you just have to blindly use 255.255.255.0. So I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to go in hardware address. I'm going to paste it in here. And the IP address is 105, right? So I'm going to pick the IP address this time, 192.168.56. I'm going to give the IP address of my choosing. So I'm going to give 110. And the net mask, I told you, just blindly put this number here, 255.255.255.0.
A quick question, if
Yeah.
I can. So when you chose the 110, it can be anything between what numbers?
Very good. I think you have some knowledge here. So it could be between 1 to 255. But if to maximum, it could be don't 255 is reserved. So
Okay.
don't go more than 254.
Okay.
So between 1 to 254. So 1 is also reserved between 2 to 254.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna actually explain you what this is.
Yeah, I was reading about it, but I'm still not very clear about like how it all works.
Yeah. So here's the thing here, all these things, everything in the world is dependent on math, okay? So if you're good at math, all those things would be easier for you. I'm not as good, but I could tell you, if you are like reading, if you are into computers, you have to know a good amount of math if you're doing programming and all that here, okay? But one thing I could tell you on top of my head is a lot of things in the world are revolving around math, especially the computers, the things which are running in the background. It's all nothing but ones and zeros, nothing more than that. Okay, so let me explain this to you guys. So okay, so this one is the Ethernet is the connection type. Okay, so yeah, the first one is connection. Okay, here we are using protocol, right? So in fact, I'll copy everything from here. Okay, and this part is a hardware address, or is called MAC address. And this part is a static IP. and then this part is subnet. Okay, so let me go ahead and save and exit out of here. So when I restart the system, 105, I won't be able to use 105 anymore, because 105 we are giving up 105, and then we're going to use 110. So the command to use is systemctl. We could do it without restarting the system here, okay? So the command is systemctl restart network and hit enter. So I should get disconnected, okay? Which is fine, which is expected. So in here, I'm going to do ping 192.168.56.110. So it's not ready yet. Okay, so let me log in here directly. Okay, so the 105 is gone. Let me try systemctl again here. Job for field control. Okay, so it's not working here, so I'm going to restart the system. All right, so well, the system is coming up. Okay, so now I'm gonna log in as root. I'm gonna give Red Hat the password. Let's see if the IP address is there. And it is not. 192.168.56.105. Let's take a look here what happened. Oh, okay. I think I gave the wrong IP. Yeah, I messed up here. If you look it in here, the hardware address is wrong. So how do I get the correct hardware address? I do IPA, and I need to look for the hardware address for ENP0S3, and this is the correct hardware address. Okay, you could obviously see the difference here. Now let's do the one I was doing without restarting. Systemctl restart network. So I'm expecting the connection should be disconnected. And if you do IPA here, and there you go. You see it took the IP address 110. So this putty is no good for us anymore. So I'm gonna go into here, practice load. I'm gonna make sure this is 110 and save it. Now if I open it, I should be able to connect just fine. Yeah, it's working. All right, it's taking longer than expected, so let's see here. 192, 168, 56, 110. Okay, open. Okay, yeah. When you are going to go back in there, this security alert will come up here because you're connecting for the first time to that specific IP address. Root Red Hat IPA. And now you see this here. This is the new IP address here, and it will not change now. Okay, this is what all the servers will require. All the servers will have their own static IP address. Okay, it may be thousands in there, but that's not a problem. Usually, network team manages those things. And let me go ahead and change the IP address here, or the hardware address. Okay, everybody with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. So that's it. That's how you create the static IP, which will not change. No matter what happens, it will stay the same. So I'm going to highlight this part here. And okay, so very good. So next part we have here is uh, so next part I'm gonna show you here is we're gonna do the bonding. NIC bonding it's called. Okay, so in our system we have three adapters here, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take two adapters and then we're gonna bond together and it will work as one adapter here. If one adapter physically fails, the system will still be up and running here, okay? I'll show you what I mean by that.
Is it called the Nick Tame or something like that?
Yeah, NIC team in Windows environment. Yep, very good. NIC teaming. Okay, so but anyway, let's I'm not gonna waste too much time here. So okay, yeah, so this is a good picture here. Okay, so let me find another picture here somewhere else. Okay, so I already have this picture here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take two network adapters, S3 and S8, and they're connecting to a different switch here. They're on a two different network switch here. So if the network card goes down, uh, one will be up and running, so the system won't feel anything. Okay, but you will get a ticket. If the switch goes down, the system will be still be up and running from this side, and vice versa. If any switch goes down or the one of the card goes down, nothing will happen to the system, and system will be up and running. And this is the one that is putting together. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, this gives you a good visual, right? What is happening here? Yeah, I think so. This is a good picture. But let me squeeze this in a little bit. It's too big. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to um, visit both network cards here. Okay, cd etc sysconfig network script, and I do ls here. I'm going to take S3 and S8 and combine both of them, and then I'm going to create another network card which is virtual. And the bound 0 is going to be virtual, and then that's going to drive the traffic through both network cards here. So I'm going to go in here, one of them. I'm going to do VI, and all these things are not essential here. So what I have to do is I have to I have to get rid of this last three lines, and then I don't need. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna match what I have here. So I'm gonna do DD. I'm gonna go all the way and paste it there. And I don't need type. I'm gonna delete that. I have device. Then I have DD P to paste it. P to paste it. Okay. Okay, and boot protocol. In here, boot protocol is gonna be none. Okay. And name. I don't need name here. I need. I have to say slave. That means bound 0 is going to be managing it, managing these two network adapters, 0S3 and 0S8. We're going to say yes. Okay, make sure if I'm typing this uppercase, then it needs to be on uppercase. If you type it lowercase, it's going to create problem. And master equal bound 0. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this, save and exit, and bring the line up and go into number 8 and delete all this here, and then right click. The only thing you have to change here is S3 to S8. Okay, I'm gonna give a minute here so that you guys could catch up.
Thank you.
Does it matter if it's dynamic or
It does.
DHCP?
So the only things you should have in those is these 5 lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever you have previously in number 8 and number 3, remove everything. They should, both of them should look identical, but only the device name should be there. Device name should be a little bit different. I mean, whatever the device you're working with.
A question. I
Yeah.
think same question what he just asked. So if you're trying to create a bond, do you have to have a static address, or would it work if you have
In bond 0, I mean, the idea is you have to have a static IP address in here. Bond
oh,
0 doesn't work with dynamic here. Okay, but don't type bond 0 here. Just worry about 0S3 and 0S8. Bond 0, I'm not there yet.
okay.
But here, in those 2 lines, you should have 5 lines in there, in those 2 files. Are you getting an error message?
If I try to save it, it says no file name.
Okay, yeah. Give me your team viewer.
Give me a minute. It's 469-184-188.
Okay.
Password is JN9R52.
Okay. So I think you're missing one line, right? How many lines you have? Five, right? Supposedly five.
Oh, maybe, yeah, I did.
And then master, last line, push letter O. Push O, it will open a new line for you. No, no, no. Yeah, bound zero. Yeah, it has to be zero.
Oh, it's okay.
So if you want, yeah, there you go. And the next
And now it
line,
says,
uppercase master. Uppercase master is bound zero. Okay, the one above slave supposed to be yes. Equal yes. You're good. Okay, now, uh, yeah, there you go. Then save and exit. It says no file name. Okay. Uh, oh, you have to give the name of a file, buddy.
okay.
Go into that folder here. Scroll up and then go into the cd sysconfig folder here. So yeah, there you go. Yep. Hit enter. Do ls here. Okay, so we're gonna you see that ifcfg enp0s3 highlighted. Or yeah, go vi.
This one?
No, the one above it.
The one above?
No, I'm sorry, S3. So we're gonna deal with S3 and S8. Okay,
Okay.
do VI space and a right click. It will paste it for you. Space, then right click now. There you go, it pastes for you.
And hit
Okay.
enter.
Yeah, hit enter now. Okay, so go ahead and what we don't need is I think we don't need this, don't need this. Okay, so we don't need the name either. Okay, so very first one is device is that on boot is yes, and then go and type uppercase boot proto equal lowercase none, none. Okay, then uppercase slave slave equal yes. Okay, then type master equal bond 0. Okay, escape and save and exit. Okay, now go ahead and cat the file, scroll up, and then instead of vi, yeah, just type cat ifcfg, yeah, enp0, yeah, change vi to cat. Space I is missing, yeah, type I. Now hit enter. Okay, now let's take a look here. Bring the line up and change the number 3 to 8. Enter. Okay, now essentially you want to get rid of everything in here and almost copy same thing from the file which is 0s3, right?
Right.
So what you could do is bring that line up where you catting the file 3. Okay, give a space, give a greater than sign, space, and then copy that ifcfgenp0s8. No, don't scroll, go back.
Okay.
Now wait, before that change vi to cat. Then push end key on the keyboard, it will jump back to the end of the line. No, not that. On your keyboard, do you have end?
Oh, and okay, I touched that M again.
No, sorry.
Am I missing an? Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, give a space. And then go ahead and copy that from the top line. ifcfgenp0s8. Yeah, there you go. Just right click on it. Okay, you did the did here. Now cat enp0s8 now. What do you expect in there now?
Uh, you said cat 3 is cat 8. I
Yeah,
mean,
whatever happened, it is good now. But cat, go ahead and cat ifcfgenp0s8. Don't hit enter yet. Yeah, go back and then make it 3 instead of 3. Make it 8. What now? When you hit enter, what are you gonna see the output? Okay, go ahead and hit enter.
I think everything.
Yeah, so the output for 3 went into 8. Okay, remember we use the redirector here. Instead of going into this file here and changing each line, we essentially
Oh, okay.
redirected this line and then redirect in here. All you have to do is go back in this line
Mm-hmm.
and then make 8, replace 3 with 8. So bring the line up. No,
Oops.
one time only. Go back, go down, scroll down again. Yeah, make it 8 and go into vi instead of change vi. and push A. Yeah. To go jump back and forth end of the line, you have to use end and home and hit enter. There you go. The only thing you need to change here is the number 3 there on the top line. Yeah, there you go. Is that you, Shakil? You're burping here? Escape, save and exit. U. To undo, you push escape key. Push U on the keyboard. There you go. And just make 8 there. I think it went back 3 again. Escape, shift colon X.
It's doing the same thing up there.
Are you using those keys? Okay, hold on. Are you using the number pad?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, don't use number pad here. It's not very good here. Shift colon X.
Shift colon X.
Yeah.
Enter.
There you go. You good now. Okay, now I'm going to close this, but follow on my screen here wherever you are.
Okay.
We're going to create a new file here, the file that doesn't exist. Okay, the file which doesn't exist is bond 0. So it's the same format, VIIFCFG hyphen bond 0. Okay, so it should be a blank file. And we're going to type the similar thing here you see on the screen here, on the picture. So start typing with me. Device equal bond 0. Type equal bond. If I'm typing capital B in there, yeah, it needs capital B. On boot equal yes. Boot proto. That means boot protocol. What kind of boot protocol you're going to use? You're going to use static. IPADDR. So IP address we're going to use 192.168.56. This part is already predetermined here, okay? What do you want to use after that is up to you. So let's go. I'm going to use 250 just to showcase this. I'm going to use 250 because what I'm saying here is you could use any IP address you want of your choice. And net mask is going to be the same. 255.255.255.0. Okay, in reality, this information will be given to you by your network team. Okay, so we're going to save and exit. Shift colon X. And if you do ls here, you should see bond 0 in there. Right there, bond 0, ENP0, S3 and S8. It may look difficult, it's not very difficult, you guys, believe me. And in fact, these are the skills. When you acquire these skills here, these are to me, these are silly skills here. But these are the skills that you will be getting the top money for. Okay? Okay, so this is a good example. Definition, nick bonding. Okay, before that, I'm gonna okay, so this should be clear here, right? We're almost done with this. So now I'm gonna create a I'm gonna I'm gonna create a configuration file, okay? Uh, yeah, bond configuration file. Okay, so you need to edit these files here. Okay, and here, this over here, you're creating a file. Your file doesn't exist, so you have to create one. Now, so when this is said and done, you still need to do the configuration file. Okay, so you have to create a configuration file. The file may or may not exist. Okay, so let's see where the file is located. The location of the file is, okay, if you're going into cd etc, remember yesterday I said etc folder, right? etc folder is a folder that contains all the configuration files. Okay, and this is where the this is the location. So the configuration file we're looking for doesn't exist, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create one. I'm going to say vi bonding dot conf. Okay, I'm going to pause here. This is the folder you have to go into, cd/etc, and type this folder partially and put a tab key on your keyboard. It will auto complete it for you. Okay, so I'm going to create a new file here. And then there is a line I'm going to type in there, alias bond 0 bonding. Okay, so all the spaces and everything, it need to be exactly the way you see it. Okay, so everybody with me? Now what I'm going to do is, give me 1 second here. Save and exit. Okay, so we created the bound here. Now what we need to do is we need to activate it. Activate bonding. Okay, so the system knows all that thing here. Then now we need to do is activate the bonding here. So to activate the bonding, you have to run this command. You could be in the home directory. So mod probe bonding. That's it. It's activating the bonding. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to check if the bonding is running in the background or not. Okay, how do you check? For now, don't worry about this command here. We're gonna go a lot more commands coming up later. So you just have to do ls mod grab bonding, and if you get this answer back, that means it's running. If you're getting an error, that means it's not running. So let me know. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna restart the network here. Same command, systemctl restart network. Okay, I'm gonna get disconnected because we are gonna use the IP address as 250. I'm not gonna be using 110 anymore, okay? Okay, so I think I got disconnected here. If I do IPA here, there you go. Bond 0 is active here, down on the bottom. Okay, so again, I'm gonna exit this. and I'm going to bring up putty load, and this has changed already. So I'm going to change it to 250 and save it. And then I'm going to open it. And this is expected because you're connecting to this IP for the first time. And let's take a look here. Root Red Hat. And if I type IPA, look carefully here. We have number 5 here, which is bound. And the IP address we gave is 192.256.250. And then ENP03 and 08, they're now going to show the IP address here. Okay? So in here, bound 0 is going to randomly select either 8 or 3 as a primary. So how do you know which one is being used right now by bound 0? Look at the MAC address here. Okay, right now let's match this MAC address with either 3 or 8. Okay, so the MAC address with number 2, ENP0S3 is matching. So ENP0S3 is being used as a channel right now. Okay, if ENP S3 goes down, what will happen is bound will automatically switch to ENPS08. The IP address will remain exactly the same. Nobody will ever feel anything happened, okay? But what will happen is there is a system monitoring. We're not worried about system monitoring. That's a cheap job. If somebody offered you a Linux with system monitoring, don't take that job, okay? It doesn't pay you well. It pays like $35 or $40 an hour. I'm preparing you to make more than $55, $60, $70 an hour, okay? So if somebody says that's what they're going to pay, just hang up on them because it's an insult. But anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to shut down the system and take out ENPS03, and then we'll take a look here and see how Bond will automatically switch to ENP0S8 and start using it, okay? So to do that, let me go ahead and copy all this here, okay? So I'm going to copy. Okay, so I'm going to highlight here the IP address we chose earlier, and then it's going to use this here, and this is what it's using here. So the active link is on bond 0 is going through ENP0S3. Okay, so let's go ahead and mess with the system and see what happens here. Okay, go in here and go into network, and for the adapter 1, so what you should do is adapter 1 is enabled adapter. How do I disable this? Okay, if I select not attached, it may or may not work here. So let's take a look. Okay, and what I'm going to do is Control C. Okay, so I'm not able to connect anymore. But let me duplicate session. Okay, yeah, that I think I have to shut down the system. Network. Okay, but let's see here before I restart. Uh-oh, it's giving the adapter error message here. So I'm gonna shut down the machine here, okay? I'm gonna shut it down. Just X out of it, and then if you get the power off, go ahead and do that. So when the machine is off, put this back here, but do this here. Uncheck enable network adapter. When the machine is off, this will be available. So uncheck that, and then leave everything else alone. Okay, then start the system back up again.
I want to help, Baba.
No, I don't need help.
Okay, so I restarted the session. Root. I logged in with my secret password. Okay, now look in here. ENP0S3 is gone. 8 is here. Okay, but look at the IP address. The IP address is there, and the Ethernet MAC address is being used from the ENP0S8. Alright, I think it's a time for a break here. Let's take a 10-minute break, and then I'll be back in 10 minutes. Let me pause the recording.
I'm still having a problem accessing using PuTTY now. Like it won't let me log into the root or anything.
No, log in here, because you have to change the IP address, right? Did you change the IP address? What is the IP address you used? 250 or something else?
I use the same one you put in, 250.
So try using 250, connecting with 250.
In PuTTY?
Yeah, bring up PuTTY again.
Okay.
Close all your PuTTY sessions, okay?
Alright.
And then load practice, and then change it to 250. And save it, I think. Going forward is going to be, we're not going to mess around with this anymore.
Okay.
Still not connecting?
Yeah, it's giving me a message now, security alert.
Yes, that means you're connecting. Yes, click yes.
Click yes, okay.
And then you should log in now.
Alright, now it's working. Alright, thank you.
All right, very good. So you followed through everything then. So essentially, just look at this picture here. Okay, so the place you'll be working at, they don't have any budget issues, okay? These are like a big corporations. So they would have all the money in the world to maintain a system like this here, okay? And they will have thousands of these. When I worked for Apple, they have 1 million servers there. Okay, so the one network card is going to switch 1, switch 0. another network card is going to switch 1. So we have this scenario here, like if switch 1 fails and switch 0 fails, I mean, then you are dead in water, okay? There is no way around it. But usually, even the network and all those are very well maintained, okay? They take care of the network environment in a very good fashion. So what happens there is the outage is very minimum, because everybody is gonna do their system up to date and all that here, okay? So we don't have to worry about this. So in your environment, you just have to worry about what is happening in your system. Okay, that's it. So
the purpose for the whole bond 0 was to what, make our IP static?
no, that's one of them. The other one is because we shut down the system here, right?
Yes.
Okay, if you look at here, system, network, so adapter 1 is gone. We only have adapter 2 and 3. Okay, so even after adapter 1 is gone, the system is up. In the VirtualBox environment, I'm not able to show you that. See here, ENP0S3 is gone. But normally you don't have to restart the system, it will automatically switch. But a VirtualBox, the lab we are using, it doesn't have that capability to automatically switch, okay? So what happens is the system doesn't go down, it will automatically switch to whichever one the link is up, and it will be working fine. So how do you know it was using ENP0S3 before? Now it's using 8. How do you know that? Because if you look at the Ethernet, or I'm sorry, the MAC address here and the MAC address here, both are matching. So bond 0 at this moment is using this Ethernet card. So go ahead and shut this down and go back in here into the network settings and then enable adapter 1 and make sure I mean, if you didn't make any changes, all you have to do is just enable adapter 1. 2 and 3 is there. Just OK out of it and then start. Okay, while it's doing, I could restart and then it should come up. Okay, so it came up. I'm going to log in as root, my secret password. And if you do IPA here, so what will happen is it is using ENP0S3 as a default here. So it switched back to ENP03 because it detected that this network adapter is there.
Okay, so I'll always use the first one that's available.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. In here, I think in the VirtualBox environment, I've seen it's always using the first available one.
Okay.
But I've seen at my work, what it may have done is it may be using it randomly.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so okay, good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on system updates here. next thing you're going to follow is you don't have to worry about it as much. If you're lagging behind, don't worry about it. But just try to keep up here. But only thing when I'm going to tell you is when we are doing the updates, those are some critical updates that I'm going to explain you how those things work, okay?
Okay.
So okay, so next thing we're going to do is software and package management. So what this is this is a software management here. So now everybody knows that any document you download here, it has like an extension, right? Like if you have a Word document, right? What is the extension of a Word document? Uh, let's talk about PDF. What is the extension for PDF file? Anybody knows? Okay, let's see. Let's take a look here. This is a PDF file. I'll right click and go into properties. And no, so maybe this one is PDF. Okay, do you see here that the file, it has an extension, it says .pdf, right? Even for the Word document here, I'm gonna right click and go into properties. And then it has like a Word document, file extension is .docx. If you have like an Excel, the extension for Excel is .xls. That's how the system recognizes which file it is, right? Okay, XLSX. Okay, so similarly, every file in the world has. What about the text file? Like this file here, it has some extension, right? TXT. Does it make any sense here, guys? I'm talking to you. Does it make any sense what I'm talking about? So, in the Linux environment, all the applications, the packages you install, it has extension to it. Okay. So, for example, a Word document have PDF have .pdf. So is all the files in here which are packages in the environment has extension. So the one Red Hat deals with is RPM. Okay, this is Red Hat Package Manager. This is used to manage a package. Okay, and you could add, remove, update. Okay, but you have to do this manually here, so this has become, this is not very efficient. Okay, not efficient. So what happened is, uh, actually the RPM based, I think yesterday I talked about the RPM based operating systems. So all these operating systems, uh, they're using the extension called .rpm. So remember, at start of the class we installed the package name tree. So if you type yum provides tree here, right? So this is the name of the package, and it ends with .rpm. That's how the file is recognized. Okay, so it may be a little confusing here, but I'm telling you, don't stress too much on it. So we have a RPM based Linux. Excuse me. Okay, RPM based Linux is Red Hat, Oracle Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Fedora, SUSE. These are all the operating systems that's being used here. But now there is a package manager. Okay, there is a system which was developed by some independent entity. It's called Yum. It just had a weird name in there. Okay, what is Yum? Yum stands for in Linux terms. Yum stands for so it's actually a tool. Yum is a primary tool for getting, installing, deleting, querying, and managing Red Hat Enterprise Linux RPM software packages. Okay, so yeah, this is a good definition. Okay, so actually I'll put it in the next tab here. So Yum actually stands for yellow dog. Don't ask me why is it named yellow dog. Okay, updater and modifier. Okay, and it is a primary tool for getting, installing, deleting, querying, managing uh, it's not specific to Red Hat anymore. RPM software packages. Okay, good. And here the package extension is .rpm. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by .rpm. Okay, so we have our yum and rpm here. So let's work on rpm a little bit. We are not using rpm. In theory, we're not using rpm here. When you go into work, you're not using the rpm, you're using so here rpm is name of extension of the package, as well as you are able to manage using the rpm command also. But it used to be pain in the neck a few years ago. Ever since yum came along, it is very, very easy now. Okay, but I'm going to show you a little bit about rpm and then about yum, then we'll move forward. So I'm going to say rpm.
Zafar, is this something for package distribution? Is that what it is?
Yeah, but it's coming directly. But we're not packaging is being done like we used to do, but it's not on that scale anymore because it's coming directly from Red Hat or the wherever the repository is being managed. Yeah. Even I work for maybe if they have like a very custom package, then they would create a rpm packages. Most of the time they're just getting it from Red Hat updates and all that. Okay, so the very first thing is if you want to query, if you want to query the install packages on the system. So if you want to see all the install packages on the system, all you have to do is rpm -qa. Okay, it stands for, so these are all the packages which are installed on the system right now. Okay, you may or may not see this every day. No, actually you don't see this every day. You really don't have to worry about this because this comes with the system. Okay, and then so if you want to do sort it alphabetically, you do sort and it does it alphabetically for you. Okay, A to Z. Okay, and so the next command is if you want to see the specific detail of information about a package here, right? So over here, how many packages we have? So we have about 306 packages that showed up here, right? So in there, if you want to look in only for a specific package, so what you have to do is rpm-qa, and then you do the name of the package here. For example, we installed tree earlier in the class, so I'm going to type rpm-qa and tree and hit, actually no, I for detailed information. So when you ran that command rpm-qi and tree, what it does is it gives you the official name of the package, version, release, architecture. When was this installed? It was installed on October 10th. So it's about right. And then application, if it's an application or file, so it's putting itself in the application group. The size in kilobytes. Licenses GLP level 2, that means all the licenses free in here, okay? And it has, in essence, it got a lot of information here. And also you could see build date. When was this built? It was first released in 2014. And who did this? It was done by CentOS, and vendor is CentOS. So CentOS is the one, that community that came up with the tree command. So let's see if we could do ls here. ls. So ls is just a command, it's not a package. But anyway, let's stick with this here, the information we have about tree here, okay? So when I talked about the package information here earlier, yesterday, you could come back here and relate to this information here. Where is it at? Okay, here. So version is 1.60. Okay, and it already took this much information here. So this is only one. It's been released, major releases been 6 times. It's not a package, it's not a patch. And then 10.EL5, that means the Red Hat version is 10. EL7 is, that's for the operating system, the Linux version operating system, which is 7. And this one is Red Hat 7 also. And then the last one is architecture. So all these 3 items are put together here, and you could see it in here. And then the extension is RPM. Remember I told you the extension is RPM. This is what it is. Okay, so if you want to see specific information, then this is what the command is. To check. Okay, so that's the command. Okay, so the next command, if you want to view the install RPM by date, okay, RPM -QA, it's the same command, and then you want to do last and hit enter. So it will give you the information about when the package was installed actually. So it is saying October 4th, 2020. That's probably the day we install this operating system, okay? So that's where it's getting that information from. But if you want to grep for tree, it should tell us October 10. There you go. Okay, I'm just gonna copy this here, these 2 information. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the screen here. Okay, and if you want to see the folders and directories the package is installed, okay, so you have to type this rpm hyphen q query L for location and name of the package. And these are the files and directories where this package tree is installed. So before, if the tree was not installed, when you are installing it, at that moment, what happens is the installation package, it goes into these directories and make changes. Okay, so it's done automatically, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, so next command I have here is if you want to see the documentation, if you want to see like a detailed documentation for that, so you have to type this qd. So these are the documentations here. This is the man pages, this is readme, license and all that. So I'm gonna go zip through this fast. Okay, so now next thing I have here is if you want to see the configuration files for the tree command here. So what you could do is you could run rpm qlc. C stands for configuration. So apparently there are no configuration files for this. Let me do, you could do any package in here. So hold on. Let's take a look at rpm-qa. Let's see if there is a gzip. Gzip doesn't have anything. Tar doesn't have any configuration files. Let's see, mount. Package is not installed. Firewall D. Okay, this package comes with the system here, right? So in Windows, when you install this in the C drive, it goes and then there are like Windows files here. These are all the system files here. No, not here. C drive program files. And a bunch of these files here are, I have no idea what these are, but they come installed on your system. Microsoft Mail, is it System 32? Windows and System 32, I think. Right here. And see all this, there are folders inside folders and they have like a bunch of information here, right? You didn't create all this. All these files and folders come together and become an operating system, okay? So it came with the operating system. So if you want to know like a specific information, the configuration file for a specific file not specific file, specific package, then what happens is these are the configuration files that are associated with that specific package. Okay, so that is that. Let me save it here. Okay, and what else I have here is okay. If you want to see, okay, if you want to see where what does a package belongs to, okay, if you find a file here, not a file or a package. No, I'm sorry. If you have this file here, all of a sudden you find a file, but you don't know where this file or which package a file belongs to, okay? So what you have to do is you have to simply type RPM hyphen QF and then the name of the file, and it will tell you that this file belongs to the package name firewall. Let's see if it's gonna tell us the folder also. Yeah, it does tell you the file and folder. To check, check file or folder belongs to. Okay, so it's pretty simple. RPM-QF and give the name of the specific file. Folder is also a file. I think I explained that again yesterday. Okay, and similarly, if you want to find documentation and files together for it, you could do that too. RPM-QD. I think I already showed you this, right? So this information for the specific file is so the Q is query, file and documentation. So we use this in a package sense, right? We use this as a package. Where was this? QD. We found out that we used the package and found out which files are being used with this, right? Now we're using a file to find out. We're using a backwards to find out using a file which documentation the file belongs to. Okay, you're not gonna do this every day, so don't worry about it too much.
So is it showing you everything that's in firewall D, or what is it doing?
You don't. Okay, here's the thing. You found out that this. You found out one file here, and you want to get more information about it. Okay, so you don't know which package that this belongs to. So you use this command F, and then L. At the same time, you're also doing D to find out the more documentation of this file here. So when you do D here, is basically man. It's going. It's telling you where the man pages are located for this.
Okay, I got it now.
Okay. Here's the thing here. I'm just showing you just for you to have the knowledge here, but RPM is not being used since last 5 years, I think 5-6 years. But it's a good knowledge. Sometimes I mean, in the interview, if you have like an Indian guy taking interview, he want to check all these things sometimes. But most of the time, you just don't worry about this. What's coming next using Yum is going to be what is going to be really important, and it's very, very easy, believe me. Okay, and so the next command I have is if you want to check the package dependencies, okay? So now, but before that, if you want to see what the package provides, okay, so what you could do is you could type RPM -Q and type firewall D and hit enter. Actually, I'm missing provides. -provides. I think I used earlier here Yum provides and the name of the tree. It will give you what this is going to provide here. Okay, so I haven't used this, so I don't know what the output is, but I'm just giving you the output here. So it's providing the configuration file 6.0 2.3, okay, 2L. So it's giving you the configuration file for the firewall here. So let's do for tree. Let's do for tree. Yeah, don't worry about this here. I am just putting it so that you know how to use the RPM when you are at work. Okay, so query what package provide. Okay, now here's the one here. If you want to see the dependencies, so what happens is if you're installing something, sometimes there are some dependencies, okay? So the requirements, prerequisites. For example, if you're installing Firefox, there may be some prerequisites. So we'll look into that here. So, but if you want to see what are the prerequisites for installing a particular package, you could check that. You do RPM -Q, then -- requires, and then you type firewall D. So even before the firewall gets installed, these are the things that need to be in place. Let's do it for tree. Okay, so for the tree, it needs the following things to be installed beforehand before it can install the package tree here. But don't worry about this. All these things that looks like it comes with the operating system. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, and so I think the next last command I have for RPM is okay, so view the location, and this is similar here to get the QLP, I think. So what you're gonna do is you type RPM hyphen QLP. QLP. I think did I use QLP already? DQ entry. RPM hyphen QLP. Oh, okay. So you have to give the full package information here. So I'm gonna copy this. Uh, Firefox. What I'm gonna do is we'll come back. I'll come back to this here. We'll come back here again, and let's start yum. To get a list of locations where the package will be installed or written. So the output would be the same thing here, okay? But I'll show you in a minute here what I mean by this. And then for the man pages, there are man pages for RPM. If you type RPM, there are a lot of information here. You could read through this. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna worry about is RPM. No, yum. Okay, so So let's talk about a little bit about yum here. What does yum do? So yum uses RPMs. Okay. How uses RPM to install packages on RPM based machine. Dot RPM, okay? Dot RPM. On RPM based OS, which is Red Hat is a part of it, okay? Okay, and what does yum does it? It resolves dependencies automatically. So in the old previous 5 or 7 years ago, if you want to install something, you have to install each and every packages in a sequence before you install the required package. But yum took care of everything here. It will automatically check and see what the packages are, and then it will go ahead and resolve those dependencies. Okay, so yum uses repositories. Okay, so what is repository? This is a central location to download so who is hosting these locations here? Repository is like an app store. Okay, you go to a place and you download it here from a location. So I will talk about what location it's hitting, but it's usually it's hosted by non-profit organizations, universities, and maybe companies. Why not? Okay, so if I go into cd etc yum yum dot repos, so this is a repo location here in this file. Don't worry about it, I'm just showing it at this moment here. So in here, if you look here, so what the system do is it goes to this place here. Okay, so it's going into CentOS, and this location is going to query there and start to download your info, the software package from there. Okay, but similarly you could come here and change it. You don't have to rely on that. What you could do is we're going to set up a local repository a little later here. Okay, so I'm going to say repos. Okay, let's go to CentOS.com. CentOS. And let's go to downloads. Okay, and then over here we are dealing with 7. Okay, and if I want to download it here, so let's go ahead and do x86. I want to do the RP. Yeah, let's go in here, ISO. Okay, look closely in here. Okay, all these things are independent entities here. They are holding the trusted software. So if you look at it here, the second one is like it's been hosted by University of Chicago, and these are the trusted places here. Okay, so there's another one for University of Chicago here, LAX, mirrors, and you actually have these repositories all over the world here. So you could see full list of mirrors. It's called mirrors. Okay, you could go by the country, and for example, you want to go to, yeah, let's do it in Uganda. So in Uganda there is a so look up here, this is actually a trusted university down there which is hosting this. Okay, Ugandan Christian University. Oh, okay, so they're hosting Ubuntu also. So what I'm trying to say is these are like a trusted places where you could go and download it here. And definitely what you could do is you could go here and change this. You would take up the link here and then change it in here. So we're going to do that on a different class. You could change this here and then it will start downloading it for you. It says mirror list. Mirror means it's a download place, okay? And you can so you can maintain your own local repo, okay? You could maintain your own local repo, or you could use the one from internet. And yum local repo is maintained by admin. And yum also have a concept of group packages, okay? So if you want to install like multiple things here, if you are installing Microsoft Office, it comes with what? Microsoft Office is coming with a bunch of stuff, right? So I remember in old days, if you want to install Office, it has to be so if you install Office, like Access, Excel, PowerPoint, all those things get as a big package and gets installed, right? In old days, you have to do it one at a time, individually. Office, Excel, Access, all those things you would have to install separately. So, but Yum could help you do that too. Okay, it has a concept of group packages. And so Yum group packages contain multiple packages. Okay, and so it can can be installed and removed as group. So if you want to uninstall Microsoft Office, you could entirely remove everything, or you could go ahead and remove only one thing, like usually Access. If you want to get rid of Access from your computer, you could do that too. Okay, and groups can contain optional packages. And installing group packages is easier. Okay, and I'm gonna put some information here. Location of local repo on the system. So this is where the local repository is sitting in. And then what else it does is it gets the list of available software packages, and Yum calculates the dependencies. So if you are installing something, you don't have to worry about dependencies. It will automatically resolve that for you. So I think I already put that up there. And Yum downloads the package and install them using RPM libraries. And then Yum updates RPM database locally after installation. Overall, installing using Yum is easy. Okay, so let's see some action here, what I'm talking about. So if you want to see a package is installed or not, okay, so what we're going to do is, let's work with Firefox. Okay, if you type which Firefox is not installed on our system. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to play with Firefox. So I'm going to say Yum provides Firefox. So what this is going to do is, this is going to go on to the internet and search for Firefox and gives us the results. Okay, okay, it says 2 weeks old, not bad. So in here you see the Yum went out to the internet and then queried it and then it gave us everything which is Firefox here. So you have to use your knowledge. So this one x86, that means this is for 64-bit. If you want to install a 32-bit, this is the one you want to install it. And if you're gonna look at this here, this one is like release 68, major release, and then look for the following number 12. Okay, so if you want to go for 64-bit, the older version, this is the older version. So you look at this and you look at the architecture. Okay, so this one and this one are the same architecture, but one of them is a newer version and this one is the oldest version. So if you want to install an older version, you could definitely do that. So I'm gonna so if you want to see if the package is available, okay? Okay, that's the command you run. And the next command is, if you want to check the dependencies, all you have to do is type deplist. So it's gonna give you the, okay, look at this here, Firefox. It's checking all these dependencies here, okay? It may or may not be already installed on the system, but it will check it for you and it will automatically install it for you also. So if you do WC, now I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to see WC-L. So it has over 551 dependencies here, okay? So you could imagine if something like this, if you want to install it manually, you're going to be lost. Alright, so let's go ahead and install using yum. This is, now I'm showing you officially how to install a package here, okay? We have already installed the installed tree, right? But this is officially, I'm showing you how to install a package. So we need to install a package Firefox. We went through some checking up on it and see it has so many dependencies and everything. Now I'm going to install it. Okay, and then you could do -y, but I'm going to stop it here. Yum install Firefox and hit enter. So what it's going to do is, by default, it will automatically install the latest and the greatest software for you. So it has installed, it will install one package and it has 83 dependencies on it. And it's waiting for you and telling you you want to do that. So I want to say yes.
Zafar, quick question. For package install, the source files, do we need to tell it to get to that source file, or it automatically finds it? How does it find the source file?
So right now it's going into the Firefox. I'm sorry, it's going into the repository. So which repository I'm going to show you. Uh, so the location of the repository is etc yum.repo, and if you do ls here, and this is the these are other repositories here. We're going to get rid of this and do the local one here, but base.repo. Okay, if you go in there, CentOS base.repo, what it's doing here is it's hitting it's hitting that place here and downloading it from there. And how do you know, how does it know it's doing this? Because it's automatically doing it, but people the community, independent people are providing that information.
Zafar, can you go back to your command real quick? I just wanted to see how did you check out. I'm about to be opening a new session.
Oh, you right click and say duplicate session.
No, I'm there. Just wanted to see your command for the repository check.
Oh, okay.
Just give me 1 second. I'm getting there.
So you go to this folder.
Give me 1 more second. I'm there. Okay. PC. Okay, when I enter that, it says, okay, it took me there. And then you did ls. So I have a Red Hat.repo. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm following you now. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So now it has like 83 dependencies, right? And it needs all these things pre-installed before the Firefox is functional. Okay, this thing may or may not be already installed on your system here. More than likely, all these things are on the system already installed here. It says base here, right? That means it came with the CD. The ones which are here, updates, I'll show this separately. So this one is already installed, but it's gonna do the update here, and automatically is gonna install the latest version. Okay, so when most corporations, when they're installing it from the repo, they are very confident about installing the package here, and all those things are still coming from Red Hat. In reality, you will be using a Red Hat operating system, not the CentOS. CentOS is a clone of Red Hat, but in reality, you will be using Red Hat connection, so which is much more secure. Okay, and then if I do Y and hit enter, it's going to go through all that installation here. Okay, those files may or may not be big and small. Okay, so okay, the one which is getting installed is kind of big, is going into megabytes here. So the total size is going to be 324 megabytes for the Firefox to get installed.
So if you already had some of these files downloaded and installed, because we already had Firefox on here, will it just
Very good
install?
question. Very good question. That is actually, in fact, it is one of the. So the thing is, it is very, very reliable. If you reinstall like 100 times, it's going to check all that and tell you that it's already installed or whatever, but it's not going to corrupt the system.
So it won't download twice.
It will check it. If it will check everything. Yeah, if there is an update in there, it will go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So let's do that. Yum install again Firefox. It's gonna go fast and says like nothing to do. It's already installed and it's even telling us the latest version is installed. In fact, that's the way I know I was missing something here. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of safety feature that there is there when using the yum here. So if you do like 100 times, it's not gonna do anything because it's gonna say it's already installed and the latest version is there. In fact, it will actually give you which version and all that information is there available. Okay, so what you have to do is if you want to remove it, that's it. Yum remove Firefox -y. But if you do yum remove Firefox, what's gonna do is it's gonna remove it, but it's not gonna remove the dependencies. Okay, sometimes you may not want to remove the dependencies because you never know what other package is starting to use the dependencies. If you type -y, that's it. It removed this. All the package is removed. Okay, wait a minute. What it says? Removed. Failed no such file or directory. Removed fail. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see what's the final. So these are the dependencies. So it's not removing the dependencies here. So it removed the Firefox. Okay, let's go ahead and install it again. So if you do -y, it's not going to wait for your response again. See, at one point it will stop and tell you if you want to install yes or no, right? If you do -y, it will automatically do it for you. This time the download is only 93 megabytes. So this will not remove the dependencies. Okay, so I reinstalled it. So if you want to remove the dependencies, so you have to give auto remove. Yum auto remove. Let me clear the screen. Yum auto remove Firefox -y. Okay, so what I'll do is it will automatically remove the dependencies also. Now it says no longer needed, no longer needed. It's not giving that error message we have earlier. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. I'm gonna stop here. We'll pick up next week. Next week we're gonna complete this, and then right now I'm gonna show. Next week I'm gonna show you how to update the kernel and how to do the system upgrade. And after that we are done with the updates. Then we're gonna go into managing the hard drives, and after that we're gonna go into the user administration. After that, then we're gonna start scripting. Then once the scripting will take a good 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Nobody should miss the scripting class, guys. I'm telling you, if you miss it, then that's it. You wouldn't know how to do or manage multiple computers if you miss scripting. And Ansible, we'll start Ansible too after scripting. So this is it for today. Once I'm done, I'll upload the video and the document here. And go ahead, and what I'm going to do is the document, I'm going to get rid of this here. This is not working out here. So what you will have is you will have this PDF on top here, right? I'll just embed the PDF and you could download the PDF also. Okay, so remove package and dependencies. Okay. All right, so please use the chat and reach out to me if you have any questions. I prefer you put it in the chat, and then if you have any questions, then somebody should answer it. If nobody answers it, then I'll answer it. Okay. So this is it for this week. We'll catch up next week, and until then, you all have a good day or good weekend.
All right, I just have one question. When you're using the VM VirtualBox, like the actual console instead of PuTTY, what do you click to get your mouse back?
Can somebody answer that? Okay, look down here. It says right control, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so push right control, it will give it back to you. Did you get it?
No.
The control key on the right side of the keyboard. The keyboard has 2 control keys, right?
Oh yeah, I got it now. It's working. Thank you.